when the world looks at Ireland, they think of it as a Catholic country. And while this is certainly true, it is definitely less true than it has been. Recently, it's become more and more secular. But there's still a very strong Catholic kind of feel to the country. But I would kind of say that it's more a folk Catholicism than the real deal, if you want. Because an awful lot of people in Ireland, while considering themselves Catholic, wouldn't be practicing Catholics. They were kind of called paper Catholics, which is that they do everything, the significant kind of things that a Catholic would do, such as the baptism, the First Communion, the confirmation, and to get married in the church and all that. But week to week, they wouldn't go to Mass, they wouldn't follow the tenets of the Catholic religion, and then possibly, and more than likely, don't agree with an awful lot of what the church says or stands for, but still have this kind of embedded Catholicism, and they certainly have the guilt. That's very hard to get away from. That's kind of, once that's embedded in your brain, it's very hard to get away from it. The Irish Catholicism has a very unique kind of slant on guilt that you can spot a mile away. But under all of that, and under that kind of upfront Catholicism that's kind of disappearing, there's still this kind of folk Catholicism underneath, which is, I would suggest, is probably the more prevalent or the more important thing to people than the actual church. And you have things where you have things like cures, a lot of faith healing, a lot of belief in kind of what would be considered kind of old wives' tales, or that kind of thing of that, you'd go to the witch in the corner and that should cure your warts. Only now we call it cures. And you go to someone and they cure your warts, or any sort of ailments, from burns to psoriasis to whooping cough to colic to anything you can think of. There'll be a cure for it somewhere. But underlying even that is this kind of fundamental belief in the magic of the world. And while it certainly wouldn't be called magic by most people who practice it, it is there. And you have things like these places where I'm standing in front of now, which are like holy trees, or magic trees, or wishing trees, or petition trees, or any of these type of words. And it's basically a place where it has been designated as a holy tree. And this one that I'm beside is out by the Hill of Ford, and it's in the graveyard beside it. The Hill of Ford is kind of an area that's high up that you can get the entire 360 view of the area all around us. And it's a wonderful place. I'll film some of footage around and you can see. But they're not always in Catholic places. Like there was one in the Hill of Tara, which is kind of the energy centre of pagan Ireland, old pagan Ireland. And I think that has been removed. I'm not sure why. It could be something to do with either it's not deemed as part of the heritage of the place, which might be fair enough, or it could be something like, that bridge in Paris where people used to lock stuff to, like put locks on, for love or to seal their love or whatever, and had to remove all the locks because it was destroying the integrity of the actual bridge and it was making it unsafe. So maybe all of these offerings that were put on these holy trees were making the tree unsafe. But so it doesn't have to be on an actual Catholic ground or whatever, but it's usually somewhere of significance. So this one's in a graveyard. And what they are is basically a tree, usually a tree or a bush, where people come and leave an offering in return for a prayer to be answered, a desire to have, or for protection, or to heal. There's a lot of healing. A lot of people come for healing. And you see a lot of sad things where you come across where people are leaving like baby clothes or baby items, dummies and stuff like that. And your hope is that it's just for protection. But I suspect an awful lot of it is for actual healing of sick kids. And when you get to that point of that you're turning to magic, it's probably, like I say, no one turns to magic because their life is great. But while that is a bit depressing and sad and all that, I do like the idea of it. I like that when all else fails, we believe in magic in Ireland. And we certainly have this kind of undercurrent of belief in magic. So much so that it's like you can't see the wood for the trees, basically, that we have this ingrained in us, that it's almost as if we don't realise that we have this, that they're so ubiquitous around our thoughts and our beliefs and how we conduct ourselves, this underlying magic ideas, that it's just not talked about, because it's like everybody goes to sleep at night. That's just something that happens. You don't have to make a point of it. But so these trees, they could be filled with all different type of things, from cloth. You see lots of cloth. You see lots of altar cards or prayer cards. You see rosary beads. You see like hair clips, which I assume people come and then realise that they don't have anything to offer, and it's kind of an ad hoc kind of offering. So you put that kind of on. You see lots of, like I say, baby clothes and loads of different things. I put 2 bracelets on it for my desires, for my wishes, for my petitions. And I feel when I give an offering, when I do an offering to any of the things, it should be something that you feel a loss from, or else it's not really a sacrifice. And I don't mean sacrifice in the sense of, let's blood sacrifice, all that. Although, that certainly has been done. But I mean that it shouldn't be something that is frivolous or just kind of, I won't miss that. It's just something I'm giving, because then it's not an offering. So 2 of my favourite bracelets, things I wear every day. And so I feel that's so I do feel a loss to it and feel it's a proper offering. So then you kind of have to come to, well, who are you offering it to, or what is the thing? What are people here for? Is it just to holy the tree? Is it just to God? Is it to the old gods? If we're going back, like in kind of the folk Catholicism would, like kind of in a sense, be a hangover from not necessarily pagan, but the old kind of, as I say, that kind of witchiness kind of that we have in us, buried deep within us, particularly in this country. So I don't know, you'd have to ask the individual people what it is exactly that they're giving. But I assume it's probably to their favourite saint. There is probably an element of where it's to Jesus, or it's to God, or it's to the Catholic thing, or it's, to your guardian angel, or it just could be considered like a holy place, or holy place. Like a wishing well has a kind of an aura of magic around it as well, and you get that kind of feeling from these trees. So just a quick interruption just to clarify a few things. When I was walking around the graveyard and I looked at the old church, I found that the well which is beside that tree is dedicated to St. Bridget, so it's a holy well. And I assume then that the tree that the people are tying to is dedicated to St. Bridget as well. So this particular magic tree, who the people are asking for, is St. Bridget, which is interesting that there's another kind of, it's Bridget, which is a whole kind of centre, whole place where it's dedicated to St. Bridget. It's in one of my vlogs, I'll link it in the show description. Also has one of those trees, but again, I think that was removed. That's the particularly sad one as well. That's the one where I've seen a lot of the baby stuff, and please help my sick baby stuff, which is quite sad. But anyway, this one's for St. Bridget, not all of them are for St. Bridget, obviously, and there's it's not a kind of thing that's just around St. Bridget, because I've come across some different places which had absolutely nothing to do with St. Bridget. So anyway, just thought I'd interrupt and clarify just that. I don't know why initially these trees became wishing trees. I assumed that someone did it first and then said, I got what I wanted, and then someone else did it, and then the word got out and the whole thing. And that's why I feel that these things obviously have some merit, because while it may be just anecdotal evidence, people don't do things that don't work. They might do them for a while. It's like people don't stick to a diet that isn't working. So obviously people are getting something from this, whether that's just some sort of comfort, or whether feeling like they're doing something, or to have giving them some sort of control, or whether they're actually getting an awful lot of their wishes and desires answered. People, of course, could be doing it just for, to happen to be in the area. But when this kind of place, which has loads of stuff, you have to know about it. You're not going to randomly turn up here, and so people are coming here on purposely doing it. And they certainly wouldn't call it magic, but it's like, it's hallmarks of all the magic. You're coming to a holy place, you're leaving an offering, and you're asking for something in return. And then you're leaving behind and leaving it to go. So I love it. I think it's great, and I really enjoy the fact that Ireland is such a magic undercurrent, underbelly, so much so that we don't even realise it. Again, if you brought up magic to people, they would poo-poo it and throw it away and say don't be silly. People are quite rational in their thoughts, but less so in what they actually do in Ireland. That they still will, lots of people don't walk on the ladders. They still touch wood if they say something. Won't say hail Satan, no matter how much of an atheist they would consider himself. All of those things. And I'm sure that's kind of similar in other places. But I wonder how well this translates to other places and to other cultures. I have to assume that there's something similar in other cultures and other countries. But whether it be a tree, or I suppose that thing in Paris we're seeing where people put a lock on a bridge. It's a similar idea. Probably a bit more secular in that idea, but it's still honing in on magic. Why would putting a lock on a bridge do anything for your love? So yeah, I would suggest if you want to do this yourself, either find one if there is one in your locale, or make one of your own. Go maybe perhaps at the end of a randonaut journey, when you get to a tractor and there's a particular nice tree that feels like there's great energy and stuff around it, that you could turn that into your wishing tree or the desire tree, and leave your offering, tie a ribbon to it, ties your prayer to it, leave your bracelet, do something like that, and then have that then in the way that you would activate a sigil, or maybe even activate a sigil out, and then see if it works. and see if it gets you any better to your desire than, you know, your other methods, or not doing anything at all. But I think the emphasis would have to be on putting the significance in this place. So I think the Randonaut thing could be good, or a place that you particularly find a lot of energy from, and a lot of, you know, it has a lovely aura like this one does. And then offer to whoever you want, whoever you do. If you're offering it to the universe, to consciousness, to the matrix, to the old gods, to God, or to whoever it is that you know, to your ancestors, any of these things, and then see what happens. My petition is in. I've gone to a pre-made, already made wishing tree, and I'm going to borrow some of its energy. So try that and let me know what happens or doesn't happen from you using them. But I thought it was interesting. I thought it'd be something that you might find cool and want to try yourself. And if nothing else, a bit of background kind of history, or a look at the culture of Magick Ireland.